Hello guys. Why is how is this working? Is this working well? Oh yes, now everything seems to be working way better. Oh yes, now everything. Hi people. Can you guys let me know if this seems to be working better? Okay. I'll just make you join now. Bam. Let's try. Let's do a test. Wanna try? Say something. Let's try.
Hello, can you guys hear me? Is it working now? Hello, can you guys hear me? Yep. Is it working now?
Yeah, they can hear you now.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
So yeah, they say the video is a lot better. Perfect.
Sweet. Well,
I'm
apologies for the apologies for the technical difficulties.
No, it's my fault. Okay, so let's go back 1 second. I'm gonna do the intro again.
All right.
I'm sorry, people. And then
These guys are so
you.
patient right now. You deserve a prize.
Those are the true people. The true supporter. Okay.
The cool kids club.
Yeah. Up. So here again. Sorry guys for all the technical issues. I am new to the world of Twitch, so I'm not very good with this. But let's hope this time everything works. Hello there, I'm Nemo, and this is a new format on my Twitch. Before you've seen me doing some video editing. It's probably gonna be called something like NEMO'S editing hour or something like that. Now what we're gonna do is another format which is called NEMO'S chatting hour. The concept is very simple. It's just me talking, or me talking with people. Sometimes I invite people, sometimes I am speaking alone. And there are some sub-formats under the NEMO'S chatting hour, and one of those, the only one that exists for now, is called Out of the Fishbowl. And Out of the Fishbowl, what I do is that I don't think I'm gonna be alone. I'm always going to invite people, and this time I'm inviting a friend whose name is Cirrus. Say hi, Cirrus.
Hello guys.
The concept of Out of the Fishbowl is simply to talk about little adventures, memories of moments that, you know, define who we are, because those things are completely different than the kind of things that you live every day, the kind of things that most people do, things that are a little bit out of the fishbowl, crazy adventures, crazy moments that you try to live intentionally or that just happen to you unintentionally. And among all the people I know, and I guess I know a lot of people, I don't know, but there is one person that has been through many different adventures, and this person is Cirrus. Say hi again, Cirrus.
Hi guys, thank you for your patience and interest in listening to some of these stories.
We've known each other for a very long time, right? It's been a decade now, a little bit more than 10 years.
A decade. Yep.
And okay, you can do a little bit of an introduction of who you are. We can say whatever you want. I'll give you like 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes, 4 minutes 30, whatever.
Okay.
People don't really know you. You haven't been you're not very well known on social media or on YouTube yet, but yeah, just say whatever you want. I'll give you 4 minutes. You go, improvise.
Okay. So you know me. My name is Cirrus, and spelled Cirrus. So Sirrus. And like 30 minutes ago, I was confronted with one of the hardest questions I've ever had. And was when Nemo told me, like, okay, I'm gonna prepare this channel and whatnot, and you're gonna say who you are. And I think I had a little bit of an epiphany where I felt like a little bit of a Socrates or Plato, those like whole philosophers that like sit on this rock and think like, well, who am I? Like, where I am? Where do I come from? And I started to actually think about, wait, who am I? And it's such a hard question, because how to describe in few words like who who you are and what you do. Like, yes, you can say that you know, I went to school and therefore I'm a student. I mean, that's school is not the only thing that I've done. I've done much more than that. But how do you define that much more? So, like, I feel like one of those like men that has been confronted with this question, and the answers that I come up with might not be satisfactory. But if I, update my mind, make my mind on a better answer, I will let you know. So far, I've gotten as far as I think I'm a student, but not just like a student, into school, staying a degree or whatnot, but more like a student like of life. You know, the type of person that tries to learn as much as you can from the experiences that you live, and that I think also has many connection with like being a traveler, and that's what I also will describe myself as someone who has traveled a lot, hasn't done traveling, who still like to keep doing it, but it's open to new experiences, and not only knowing my like new cultures and new people, but also like through them knowing more about myself and the world that we live in. um,
Yeah, at the end, aren't
that's
we?
what I got so
Sorry,
far.
aren't
No, no,
we
sorry, it's
all?
okay.
Aren't we all travelers of space and time? Aren't we all like nomads, traveling through a sandstorm made of stars?
Oh, that's a beautiful image. I
Yeah,
like it. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can go have like a very good time when you're going to sleep now.
Yes, I'm
Since
gonna
you
think of
heard.
like all the grain of sand in between my clothes. I hate when that happens. Um, but those are there will be stars. Hopefully, that will feel much better than
Yeah,
sand.
maybe,
But
maybe.
anyway, um, yeah. So that's who I am. A little bit more in like real terms. I am from Sicily. That's Italy. That's where I met up with Nemo.
Yes.
And yeah, and since our ways splitted because life goes on, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've been many places, and many of these places I go to share experiences with Nemo.
Yeah,
And
we had a lot of adventures together, and I'm excited that we can, sometimes we just talk about this together when we meet, and sometimes we talk about this and treat it like a third person listening, and I feel like, if we are just me and you and we talk about those things, we're excited about them, but it's kind of normal because this is what we do every time we meet again. We're always trying to do something that is out of the ordinary or something that you cannot do with anybody. But sometimes it feels good that there's someone else to listen to understand that the things we have done in our lives, those little experiences, those little adventures, are very out of the ordinary. Those are not things that most people do, and it's nice to share them because for me those are the moments that really really define who I am, right? And I think it's, well, I'm happy to share those moments and the feelings and the reason why I've been through those crazy adventures or moments or things that happened. Um, cool, cool. So
I'm excited for that because finally we might find a public that actually is willingly, connecting live to listen to that instead of just randomly like dropping in a conversation, and then we start having talks about, oh, do you remember that time? I was like, oh, damn it, I didn't sign up for this, but these people actually have because they're connected, they're live, so we know they want to listen to that. I'm just just playing. It's actually more interesting than
so I think how the
it
format
sounds.
is going to
What I
be.
make it sound.
Oh, sorry. So what I think the format is going to be is like, well, we started a little bit late because of technical issues, but the idea is, you know, uh, we start talking about one story per episode, and then we start talking about, the feeling and why you did that and would you do it again and stuff like that. So today I think you're the guest, so I think you should start for this episode and tell us a crazy story, something that happened to you, something that you did that you are proud of, or not, whatever. Share it with the world.
I would love to. So actually been thinking about what story I wanted to share with you guys, and there is this one story about a trip that I did when I was quite young. Well, quite young. When I was younger, I was a teen at the time, and it was summer. And I was having a very hard time. Maybe we'll get more into the details of why I got to do what I did, but I decided to just put stuff in a backpack, fill it up as much as I can. It was about 15 kilos, 30 pounds, quite heavy. And then I took a bus. I went to a city which is like about an hour and a half away, and I walked back home. So that's the premises of this story. It's a story of a trip, of a solo trip that I've done, and this story unfolds in Sicily. Now, to give you a little bit of a perspective, I'm gonna try and share my screen
Okay, so it's
with
in
you guys.
Sicily, right? So Sicily, and it's in the
Yes.
middle of the summer.
Oh yeah. Forgot to
perfect.
mention. So you got Italy. Do you see the screen?
Yeah.
So you got the Italy right here. Sicily is this one. And during the summertime, I will be living here. And I took a bus. I went all the way here to Syracuse, and then I walked back. The cool thing about this trip is that I didn't have to have any map, because what I thought was, hey, if I just follow the coast and I keep following, eventually I'll get home.
Eventually.
Which is right. Yes, eventually I'll get home. So like, I don't need a map. I just need to follow the sea, just follow the coast, and eventually I'll get there.
How many kilometers is that?
That was about 100 kilometers, which is what, 60 miles or something.
Okay, by car.
For conversion. Yeah, I think it might have been a little bit more than, yes, because technically, yes, it is about 100 kilometers by car.
Yeah.
Might be wrong, but around that time, around that length. And then it was maybe a little bit longer by foot.
Okay.
But so that's just to give you guys an idea of the route and the setting. So like in Sicily during the summertime, it gets very, very hot. So normal temperatures will be like, it will peak every day at least of 40 degrees, which is, oh man, how much is 40 degrees in Fahrenheit? It's hot. Like,
you want me to check?
Like 100. Yes, you can check. I got.
Oh wait, I can ask Echo. Echo, how many degrees Fahrenheit are 40 degrees Celsius?
40 degrees Celsius is 104 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So that much.
Sorry,
and
I'm not sure.
Shh. Goodbye. She's gone. You can keep talking.
Okay.
Before she wakes up.
Okay. And I just walked back.
What happened there? Did you hear that?
No, what happened?
Yeah, she was singing. Okay, you just go.
Okay. So, and I just took this bus, got to the town, Syracuse, and I just started to walk back. But, since it was like the first time I did this kind of like solo trip, and when you start doing that, the first thing that maybe comes to you is a little bit like melancholy, like, oh man, it's just me, just no friends, no nobody. And so like during those moments, you get a little bit more outgoing than you might normally be.
Mm-hmm.
And you start asking questions like, "Hey, what's the way for the next town?" Like, and it's probably like a funny image because imagine this guy like with flip flops.
Flip
Because
flops.
yes,
You
I
did it
did the
with flip
entire.
flops?
I wore
Why?
flip flops for the whole journey because I don't know. You know when you're 18 and silly and
Yeah.
just do things because you're still young and
Flip
can afford
flops.
them. Yeah, and then didn't even like those things never crossed my mind. Like, oh, it's summertime. You use flip flops. That's just what it was at the time. And you see this guy with flip flops, like swimsuit, and not sure because it's too hot. Like it's way too hot, with a huge backpack on their behind them, and they ask you for direction for the next town. And they're like, what? Like you give directions like yeah as you go down there and then you keep going and then they look at you and they say, are you walking there? And I will say yes, of course. And their answer I will always get was like, are you crazy? like it's like no I just feel like walking. So like they were still like, oh, okay, so then you want to go this other way then because probably they thought I had a car. And like when I arrived in Syracuse, I asked this question about 4 or 5 times, not because I would understand necessarily, where to go, but one because I wanted to make sure it was right. Because man, if you go the wrong turn with a car, it's fine. I mean, you go back like 2 3 minutes drive, no big deal. But if you're going by foot, that's heartbreaking. Like knowing they've been walking the wrong direction for like I don't know 10 20 minutes is like
Yeah,
oh,
with the sun and everything. Oh my god.
yeah, no.
And flip
But
flops.
funny story about the flip flop at the end of the journey. Of the
Oh, no.
journey. Uh, but we, not me, I was like asking for directions for a number of people, and then I met there was this one guy I asked for directions to, and he was like, "Are you going there by yourself by foot?" I said, "Yes." We looked around, and he told me like, "Come with me." And I thought, "Okay, let's follow." And I
Silly.
would just, and
It's
then just
like,
sort of like,
okay, okay, I'll just go. I'll just go with you. Anything.
yeah, he doesn't even question it. I guess it's the 18 like years old mentality when you don't even question things, you just let them happen. No,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Don't even cross my mind. But yes, I just followed this guy. It was like a man probably in his 40s and 50s. And he said, I'm going to a city nearby. I'll can give you a ride to part of the way, and then I'll drop you off. Sounds great.
That's
Yeah. Just
cheating a little bit,
and
though.
I know, but I think that's also in the mentality of like going on a solo trip, just like getting everything that gets your way, that comes your way. Sorry.
Yeah, someone in the chat just said that that's one way to die. I totally agree. And I think that's why it's kind of cheating, but you're paying a price for that. You're gonna go in the
Yes.
car of someone you don't know, you know, and you have flip flops. So if you have to run, you're not in a good position.
True.
You know.
True. And the backpack is heavy too. But interesting that you mentioned I don't even know this guy because next part of the story will be about that. This guy was extremely friendly, and we start talking about life and things. I don't know. Some questions came up about what you want to do in life, what is your plan, and I found myself answering with 100% honesty, like to these questions, in a way that I didn't even, admit to myself how honest I was in the way I answered these questions. And then I asked this guy questions equally as maybe you can call them deep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The conversation got very like, um, I want to say emotional, even if it's not the word that would be accurate. But it was just like a deep and involved conversation about life stories, dreams and hopes, and things that we wanted to do in life. And I found myself like pouring my heart into the hands of a strangers who I've never met, and finding the stranger doing the same thing with me. I don't know, it was a beautiful moment. I still remember his name. His name is Sebastiano, and it was just beautiful. Like I never felt like such a connection with somebody.
Shout out
And I
to
think that the reason,
Sebastiano if you're watching us live right now.
yeah, true. Please contact me again. I miss you. But, one of the cool thing about this, and what I think is what I thought why the connection was possible, was the fact that he was a total stranger. Like sometimes strangers are the best people to that the people that will always keep your secrets, because
Right.
they don't know you, they know nothing about you. So whatever you say to them, unless like I don't know, I murdered someone, I'm escaping from the law. Like I don't know. They will
Because
never have.
that's not true also, right?
Of course, that's not true.
Right.
That's not true neither. But those are things that things that you say to that person. He or she will never have the need to share it with anybody. Like, hey, by the way, I met this one guy. His name is Cyrus, and he told me that he, is in love. Like, can you believe it? Like, who's this guy? Damn it! It wouldn't be the same. But we get in the car and we keep talking. At some point, like I think it was like 20 minutes that we spent time. No, maybe a little bit more. Okay, maybe 30 minutes, 40. And at some point, he said, "Okay, I'm gonna drop you off here now. This is the way to go. You keep going straight ahead." Okay, okay. And we hugged like so passionate. Thank you so much, Sebastiano. I hope everything goes well in your life. Thank you, you too, Cyrus. Bye. And I keep walking. And now the walk starts.
Wait. I have a
Which
question
is
regarding these interactions. So
yes.
you say that it's a special type of interaction because you're free to say whatever you want, right? To be the
Mhm.
real yourself and just to let it go. Just say the thing without filters. You just go and you say whatever you want. Do you think you were already in this kind of mindset because you decided, I don't know, you decided to do this trip alone and you were in this mindset of yeah, I'm just gonna purify myself and just like, I'm gonna do something that is I don't know, like a big step in my personal development, and I want to be my true self while I'm doing this trip. Do you think it's because of that, or do you think it's just because the guy was objectively a stranger, so that right now you're in the street, something happened, and you need to hop on a car for something, and you meet someone, and would you do the same thing? Is it clear?
I
I feel like I'm a bit...
Yes, I think I get what you're asking. If I divert from the question and then didn't answer, let me know. But so I think that part of me, as the person who decides to start this type of trip, wants to meet new people and to share what you have felt and experienced in your life so far, and just share with others. And that I think goes with the mindset of I'm gonna do this trip. And so you maybe like start having this different perception of people and the things, the ways you can interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe I'm naive in that sense, but I want to believe, and I think that is the case, that there is a part also that plays with that person being a stranger and being
Okay.
able, and part of the ability to be so open with him was because I didn't know him. And this will come up again in this trip, because yes, I mean it will not be the first and last situation in which I meet someone, and I would have never guessed how that interaction that interaction would have been so intense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
that doesn't answer your question.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, you can
Yeah,
continue. You
yeah.
have my blessing. Just continue with the story now. Go, Cyrus.
Thank you. So I keep walking, and this time now with the real trip starts. Because so far I was in the city, I was just asking questions, I got a ride, and now I'm actually walking with my flip flops and my 15 kilos backpack, and that's hard. It's 40 degrees outside, 104, and jeez, I start sweating so much, of course. And it gets to the point where I had water in my backpack and I was so thirsty, but the water was so warm, it felt like drinking soup.
Oh man.
And that's not satisfying at all. Like you're thirsty, but not because you actually are, but because you want to, cool down, like decrease your body temperature. And then at some point, after like few hours, I'm like, you know, am I allowed to say no curse words? No?
I don't know.
Let's
Try
keep it clean.
not
Let's keep
to.
it clean.
I mean,
Let's keep it clean.
okay.
No.
I think here on the Twitch you can say it, but once I video edit this entire live and I put it on my second channel, I will have to beep it. So the less you curse, the
Okay.
better. You can use like other words to replace it, right?
Okay. So I thought to myself, I was very, very hot, and I thought, forget it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. So I just knocked on someone's door, and this guy is like open the door, and again you see this guy's completely sweat,
Wait,
like
wait,
full
wait,
of
wait,
sweat.
wait, 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 wait.
Flip-flops.
So
What?
you just went and knocked at one door?
It wasn't quite knocking on the door, to be honest. It was more ringing the bell.
Okay. So you can totally normal.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So like I rang the bell. Thank you for the correction.
Okay.
And this guy like opened up and is like, see this guy like flip flops, like swimsuit, huge backpack, complete like full like dripping with sweat. Like what the hell? And I would just said and I just said, hi, I'm sorry, I know that seems a little weird, you don't know me, but I was just wondering if you could do me a huge favor. Could I please take, I know, a shower with the hose, like outside, like because I'm so hot right now, and I'm just like getting overheated. And again, these people are like, yes, of course, of course. So like, they get the pump outside is connected to a hose, and I just drop like my stuff and just like take this cold-ish like cooler shower just to feel a little better. And they were like looking at me and question like, what are you going like? And I thought, oh, I'm just walking home from like I have to go to this town. And they were like, what, are you going by foot? That yes. Are you crazy? It's like, no, I just feel like walking. Like, do you want anything? Like, give me a glass of water since you're here because mine is all hot. Like, hey, of course. So like this guy is like went in and just got me a glass of water. And I was like, are you okay? Like they treat me like I was like, I don't know, losing my mind or something. And I thought, no, I'm good. Yes, no worries. And I kept walking afterwards. It was a fun interaction, brief but still funny because I don't know their faces were quite entertaining, especially when you know what you're going to. I don't know, you know what their face is gonna be once you're gonna tell them what you're up to, and just fun to see their expression anyway.
That's fun. You can drink. What are you drinking?
Oh, tea,
Hmm.
like a chamomile. This now right now it's just cold outside, and that's just what I need. Just some tea.
Yeah. You can.
What is your purple stuff,
Sorry.
by the way?
Oh, purple stuff. I don't know how it's called in English. I guess you have that in America, but I'm not sure. It's called syrup in French. Sirop, and just condensed like fruits.
Juice.
And
Okay.
and just like mix it with water, and it gives it this beautiful color and some taste, and that's it. My mom used to say So I always wanted. So usually you put something like, I don't know, like this.
And you don't see it on the camera.
Yeah, to see it because you're seeing me on another camera.
Oh, dang. Okay, okay.
So usually I used to put this amount of syrup and then the rest of water. The problem is that I don't know, like my mom didn't want me to put too much because it's a lot of sugar. It's essentially 99% sugar. And so she said you don't put it for the taste. You mix it with water to give the water some color. That's it.
Your mother was a thinker.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I'm drinking this because I like water, but sometimes water is a bit boring and I don't like it when it's too boring. So I just put some color in it. So I feel like I'm drinking candies. Liquid candies.
The taste of purple.
Okay, sorry I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Sometimes I feel bad if I talk too much because you're here, but anyway. So I keep walking for the rest of the day. I mean, yes, I stop for lunch and stuff like that. And I finally arrived to this town where I planned to go to sleep. And I go to the beach. I had my tent and everything. And the interesting part about this beach was that on the very back of the beach, there were like a wall of, I don't know, a wall,
Like a rock wall, something.
yeah, like a rock wall, like some sort of rock wall, yes, but like tall. And the thing is, it had like a shape, like maybe like a shape like this. So this is the B.
Like a butt.
Yeah, exactly like a butt. And so there was like a like on one side, on the concavest parts, there were the two sides of the beach. But if you were on one side, you could not see what was happening on the other beach because there was this like this wall of rock in the middle.
Okay.
And so at the time I like set up my tent on the farthest part of the beach, so on one side of the rock, on the wall of rock wall. And I was so excited because I walked, I don't know, like 15 kilometers that day, and I was so tired. And I put on my tent, and I was so happy because I thought, oh my gosh, it's like 8:30. I already ate my bread and beans because yes, I also brought food with me, like canned food of all sorts.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. You have like 15 kilograms backpack, right? And what did you bring with you? What was the thing you said? Okay, I don't have a lot of space. I'm gonna walk all the way, like more than 100 kilometers by foot to a place I don't like. You kind of know, but you don't know the road to your place. What did you bring with you?
I'm a little ashamed of this because I realized now after traveling more
I'm
often,
sure I know what you bring. You bring extra flip flops.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't have extra flip flops. So if those would have broken during the trip, I would have been in trouble. I mean, I would have to buy new ones. But anyway, I had like stuff that was useful, but not in the amount that I did have it. For example, I had like shampoo and like body wash, but it's not like I had this much. I had a whole like bottle, like a whole because my mom was like, "You should take some showers in the meantime. Here, take these." I was like, "Okay, I guess I gotta take this." So like 1 liter worth of like body wash, which I'm never going to use like on a trip. I'm not gonna use it like in a month of me taking showers every day at home. Like, why would I do that on a trip like this? And then like I brought other stuff like, well, maybe one of the bigger things was water, which again I don't think I needed to bring that much water. I could have bought water, but in my mind, like I was on a budget. I didn't have to spend any money. The only thing that I bought consistently was fresh bread because then I had like um, cans of beans, tuna cans, other beans, other tuna cans, like all this like canned food, and then like very few clothes and the tent, and I guess oh yes, and this one container of Nutella. I don't know why I had a whole like one of the big jar containers of
Mhm.
Nutella. I thought in my mind, yes, this would be like the treat at the end of the day when you're tired, like you're gonna get Nutella and you're gonna be
Oh
happy that you
no.
brought that. And I was like, like my future, my present self is like, why, like why? Just buy a freaking candy somewhere. Like don't bring the Nutella with you. Not worth the wait to carry that around. Yeah.
Okay, go back, go back.
Uh,
Sorry, go back to your story on the beach.
no, yes. So I was just like setting up my tent, and I had dinner, and I didn't have a charger or anything because at the time I don't know, battery banks were not that popular, so I didn't have a battery bank either.
Yeah, also
So I couldn't charge.
the phones were
Yeah, quite older. It wasn't
older
like
and
smartphones like today.
Mhm.
So like I will turn off the phone for the whole day and only turn it on to call my parents to tell them I'm fine, everything it's okay, don't worry, talk to you tomorrow, just to check in with them. And then I was excited because I thought it's 8:30 at night. I'm gonna sleep as much as I can, like so much, and it's gonna be great because I was exhausted. I had like red marks on my shoulders from the backpack. It was bad. And I sit in the tent and I cannot fall asleep. I start like freaking out because for the first time, this is like a little bit of a deeper moment because for the first time, I realized that I'm alone. And I know that it might sound like a silly consideration, but for my whole life at the time, up to that point, I had been alone before, yes, but not in the way that I've lived it in that moment. Like I've been alone at home, but you can easily get out of home and you know that there are people around. And you know that at some point someone will come home back, you know, my parents, my siblings. But none of that was the case in the situation that I was in. I was just alone and I was freaking out because of that. Because for the first time I realized I had a different feeling of what alone really means. And that just gave me so much anxiety. Like there was nothing around me. There was no one around me. And that was scary.
Yeah, you must have felt vulnerable, right?
Yes, yes. I was like clamping on my little knife and I was just like holding on to that. Okay, if someone comes, I don't know who, I don't know when, but if someone comes, like I will have like movies in my mind played out, how I will react and what I will say and what they will do and all these crazy things that you know will never happen. For example, like if someone was gonna come in and like steal my stuff, I would like cut their Achilles tendons so that they cannot run away. Like these stupid things. Like what? Like what are you thinking? But I was thinking when I was all ready and but I was like very much afraid at the same time, and I started talking to myself like aloud, just to hear the voice of someone, uh, to feel some comfort. Like it's gonna be all right. Don't worry, it's gonna be all right. And I did that for a while until I felt like I could, bring myself to be a little bit more relaxed. And up to the point where I was like, okay, I'm doing better. A light shines on my tent from outside and I freak out and I am thinking,
Oh my god.
oh my god, what is this? And that light was shining from the wall of rock from the other side of the that is that connects to the other side of the beach. And then the light goes away, and I'm like, okay, I cannot sleep. I cannot, you know, live with the idea that there is a light, whatever that means. I need to investigate. I cannot sleep anyway. I gotta go.
Mhm.
And so like I get out. I have my knife next to me, and I start walking towards this wall. And this is funny because I get close, and then at some point when I get at the very edge of the wall until you can like peer to see on the other side, the light shines again on me, and I hear and someone running away. What is happening here? And like I turn around, and there were kids with a flashlight playing around, and they just got scared that they saw me coming. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Kids. Could be like 5, 6 years old. But then like I see, and there's like a nice, scene. There's like a bonfire on the beach, like two tents around, and a nice family having dinner there. And I thought, oh, that's lovely. Oh. Then I turn to my tent and I see that darkness, like that loneliness that was so like strong. And I thought,
You
oh,
like
yeah,
like in movies where you have a character who's like watching two scenes and you just like see one shot of something like a family being happy with with a fire,
yeah,
butterflies and stuff, with a happy song at the ukulele,
yes,
and then you just like turn left and just like darkness,
yeah.
and then it's just and then same thing.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe that because that's exactly how it felt. And then I thought, huh, I got nothing to lose. And then I think again to go back to the question that you asked me, that was something that definitely came in my mind because I was in like an adventure mode, call it that way.
Mhm.
Like I was like I got nothing to lose. Let's just go there. And so like I decided to go there with a very again, silly excuse. And it's funny because you see this guy just coming from the darkness with a speedo because yes, it is normal to wear speedos in Italy during summertime. And this guy just walks towards you into your happy family. And I went there and said, "Hey, hi, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm just wondering if you had some fresh water. Like mine, it's all hot, and I cannot really get any satisfaction from that. Do you have some fresh water? Do you happen to have some?" Yeah, of course, of course. Do you like beer? Would you like some fresh beer? And I had to say, I didn't like beer. Like I never liked the taste of beer for some reason. I don't know. I never got into that. But I thought it's fresh. Let's do it. Like yes, yes, I would like some beer. And they gave me this. They gave me this ice cold beer. The same kind of like temperature you see in the commercials.
Oh yeah,
And yeah,
and I got
imagine
like.
the, yes, exactly the same. And I drink it, and I instantly fell in love with that beverage. And from that moment on, I started to drink and enjoy beer. And that's actually interesting. Sometimes when people talk, do you like beer? Uh, I said, well, now I do, but before I didn't. And then when I tell them the story of how I got to like beer, that's usually where I start. When I was 18, I went to the trip by myself. And then I get to this point, and then I start to like beer. Because I know that beverage was exactly what I needed at the right time. And it felt so satisfying, along with the fact that I was emotionally, compromised, you can say. And I don't know, that was just perfect. And I sat down while drinking this beer, and again, I start talking with this family who invited me to stay. Like, yes, come on, what are you doing? It's like, I'm on a trip all by myself. The whole story. Like, are you walking? Yes, or you're not. And again, this is the second moment since the beginning of the trip where I start, sharing my life with these people. And it was a very, funny family. Like it was like the mother, the father, the two kids. One of them was like very young, one of them a little bit older, like maybe 7 years old. And
Mhm.
then the grandmother was there too.
Nice.
And it's funny because like as we were talking, we were like discussing how you know the parents met, and it was just very lovely. Like, oh, we were in high school, and I saw her sitting on that desk, and I thought she was beautiful, and all the stories behind that. It was just funny and very cinema like, knowing how they met and how they fell in love and about their kids. And I don't know, it was just another one of those moments when you get pour your heart into these people's hands and they do the same with you. And it was I don't know, just a wonderful night ended up being. And then at some point they asked me like, hey, but do you want to move your tent to nearby? And I was like, okay, since you ask, I just like ran back, grabbed all my stuff, and just dragged it next to them. And we like, in at some point, like at night, we went to sleep, and I just fell asleep right away. Like I don't know, it was like that moment fixed my soul, and I just could fall asleep uh, right away. I mean, we woke up at 3 in the morning at some point because one of the child was like crying, but it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
So that was the first day of my trip.
Was it? How many days more?
We got five more days.
Okay. Okay, you have to make them a little bit shorter because we've
Okay,
been talking
but
for 50 minutes or
the next days are a little bit less intense
hmm
compared to the first. But anyway, I'll get a little bit faster in
Don't
telling
worry.
the story.
She's Peyuko who left and just wanted to say best regards to,
Oh,
to Cyrus.
thank you, Yuko.
Peyuko.
Peyuko. Thank you so much, Peyuko. Thank you for listening and dropping by. But I,
Second day.
what was I? Oh, yes. Second day, wake up. The mother had like iced coffee for me. The father was already like out fishing. And so wake up like with the sun came up, super hot. So there is no, option you get up. And pack all my stuff, give them one of those big hugs, like, thank you so much for everything. And then I keep walking on my way. And the next city that I went to was the town of someone that I've met on a trip in England, like a few years back. Those are the friends that you make during those trips.
hmm
But then, of course, you don't keep in contact with as much as you come when you come back. And so when you come back, when I was in his town, I was like, well, might as well drop him a text. Why not? So I text him like, hey, his name was Sebastiano too. I was like, hey, Sebastian, I'm in your hometown. Like, let me know if you're around. I want to hang out. Like, oh, Cyrus, of course. And he comes and picks me up with his Vespa, and like we go to his house, and it's like, oh, you come at a great time. Like my mom just had her 50th birthday yesterday. There's leftover cake and champagne. I was like, what?
Wow.
Would you like some? I was like, sure. And so like I had this great cake and drink champagne, and like all that for lunch, by the way. And and just stay with my friend. We go like visit his hometown a little bit, and he's like a great uh, guitarist. Like he's so good at playing guitar. And that night, so it happened, him and his band were going to a concert in the city, and so, oh, you should totally come. And so like, sure, let's do that. And so like we go to his concert, and they were great. Oh my gosh, it was so funny because it was a concert organized during fish festival. So you had people like on the side just going from one stand to the other trying fish. And in the meantime, there was this concert of like rock music playing. It was just so random, but it was a great concert. And then we had like
could you smell the fish while you were dancing or listen to the music?
no, but if you walked a little bit farther away from the crowd, yes.
Okay.
And it was a great night. Like we go back to his house, and I like um slept in this bed, and I needed it because the night before was just so rough in terms of sleeping. And I wake up so like reinvigorated afterwards, and I said, Sebastian, thank you so much for everything, but I gotta keep going. And so like, yeah, don't worry, Carl. Thank you so much for dropping, Cyrus. So I keep walking, and at this is my second day. So I walk at the very edge of this reserve, this like a national reserve,
National
not
park.
national, yeah, national park, which is like uh, yeah, a national park, still on the coast. And I just put my stuff down. I put up my tent, call my parents, have lunch, I mean dinner, and then night comes, and I see some of the people on the beach that were just outside. But I mean, they stayed up until night. They didn't go back, and I thought, hey, I've done this before. I can go there with an excuse and just see if I can, chat with them or make some friends. And so I walked towards them with an excuse, and the excuse was, "Hey, do you happen to have like some tissue just to blow my nose?" And in my mind, I thought, well, they give me the tissues and they will invite me over. Isn't that what's gonna happen? Because that was my experience so far. So I get there. Hey, hi, do you guys have some tissues? Oh yes, of course. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
You try to do the the how do you say miskin?
The big eyes, like
Big eyes.
like so what are you guys doing here? Yeah, chilling out here on the beach. Um, you want to join? Yes, of course, I'll join. And the funny thing about this situation was that there were like two guys and two girls, and it was like pitch dark, so you couldn't see their faces at all, and they couldn't see mine. But of course, you can tell it was someone coming when I approached. But the whole conversation that we had was like in total darkness. And the funny thing was that as I was talking to them and I was hearing their voices, I imagined like a face on that voice. And then at the end of the talk, we actually said, "Hey, but do you mind if I see how you look like, just out of curiosity?" And I see, you use the flashlight that they had, and their faces didn't match at all
At
the
all.
way I imagined with the voice. I don't know, from their voice I imagined them to have um a particular face that will match the voice, and that wasn't the case at all. And I was like, oh, funny that you mentioned that. Like, oh, you look so young. Like, yes, I'm 18. Oh my god, look at you doing this. And yes. So like I just go back to my tent and I sleep. And that night I could sleep quite well. Next day, wake up again when the sun comes out because it gets so hot so quickly you cannot sleep any longer. So I rolled all my tent and stuff like that, and then I kept walking. This time inside the park, and as I walk in the park, I get to a point on top of a hill where you can see the beach from where you were. And there was like a single person just walking towards me, like very far away. didn't think too much of it. I walked down and I'm walking on the beach and this person was still walking towards me. It's normal for people to wear speedos. I was wearing a speedo myself, but these speedos seem to have like the same color of this guy's skin. Yeah, you know, nothing different, nothing weird. I keep walking and I kept getting closer to this person. And at some point, I wasn't even paying attention. This person like suddenly turns when we were quite close and starts walking far away from me. And I thought, that's weird. But then as I was like focusing more of my attention on this person, I realized that he was naked. And I thought, what? Yeah, this guy was just naked walking on the beach. And I was like, what? What is happening here? And you know that awkward moment when you're walking and you are about the same speed as the person who's walking next to you, but not quite, so you can pass them. Oh, just you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like maybe 10, 15 meters away from me, and I was like behind, but his pace wasn't slow enough for me to just go and pass him. So somehow I just got stuck behind this guy.
But what was this guy doing?
I'll find out later what
Okay,
he was
okay.
doing. But for now, to me, it stays like a mystery. Like, okay, there was this guy naked walking on the beach. And then I get to another point of the more touristy part of the place where um, you could see people there walking and whatnot. And I sit down for lunch, and I met this couple who was also sitting there for lunch. And again, we start having a conversation, and they like give me like their sandwiches that they didn't eat because they and I were not hungry. And I was like, oh, thank you so much, because I was like on like extreme budget. Like up to that point, I spent maybe five, maybe €4 just
What?
buying bread. So like super extra budget. Well, I brought all the food with me. I had to like use it somehow. So I told them like, it's weird. I saw this guy on the beach and he was naked. Oh, you must have been on the nudist beach. It's like, what?
What?
There's a nudist beach here? It's like, yes, but it's the weekend because it was Sunday. So since on the weekend more family go to the beach, there are not that many nudists around. So, okay. Which kind of like brings up the question, what would I have done if everybody there was naked? I guess I would have also obliged by the rules. But I wasn't prepared for that. Like I was like, okay.
Instead of being backpack, speedo, flip flop, you would just be like backpack, flip flop.
Yes, yes. But I keep walking again. This time I couldn't walk on the beach anymore, so I go on the road. And I was walking on the road. I just see a car. I mean, I was walking for a while. I see a car just stopping in front of me. It was like a mini, like a smart. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy like comes out of the door, is like, "Hey, do you need a ride?" And I was like, "Sure, let's go." And so like again, I this guy like invited me in his car, and it was funny because it was like a smart, so very very small car, and I come in dripping in sweat, speedos, flip flop, and this huge backpack inside the car. I'm like, hey, hello. It's like, hey, hi, nice to meet you. And so like, turns out that this guy was like a photographer who had like a romantic story with someone that came from the same hometown that I was from,
Wow.
and we start talking about our hometown and I mean my hometown and how beautiful it was, and about his his life and his career and his project to go to Belgium to be a photographer there. And again, like another one of those moments when you like do a lot of intense sharing with this
Stranger.
person. And then again, I don't remember his name though. Might have been
Sebastiano.
Lorenzo.
Just
Just
guessing here.
good guess. Good guess. But at some point, like I he drops me off, and again go to this town where I was gonna spend the night there, and yeah, I spent the night in this other town, but this time I was so like, it gets to a point where you really want to have some good food, and I just thought I'm just gonna go for a pizza, and I just grabbed a pizza. It was the best pizza I've ever had, just because it was, I don't know. You realize how much things that you have every day, how important they can be, and how how you value them much more when you eat bread and beans every day. But besides that, I mean, today's part on, I don't remember it quite well each single day, but I want to tell you before, just to cut it short, also the end of this trip.
Okay.
And the end is quite epic because I get to my town, which is like all right on the beach, and I start walking. It was like sunset, so you could see like these red colors, you know,
Well,
uh, on the skies. It was beautiful. So I walked down, and you could see my friends running towards me because they recognize this huge backpack, and just run towards me like, "Oh, Cyrus, you're back!" And they just hug me like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" And it was just like such a nice welcome because I just left and didn't say anything to anybody. And when I got back, and they were like asking me, "So, how was your trip? Tell us everything about it." I was
of
telling them
course,
stories,
everybody knew.
and then yeah, and so like I was going walking back home, and one of my friends told me, "Hey, do you want me to carry your backpack?" Yeah, yes, thank you so much. So I give him the backpack, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm light. I'm so light. I can jump. I can jump." And I start jumping, and right at that moment, the flip flops broke, just destroyed. I was like, "Oh my god, they lasted for so long, and only at the end of this trip they just died."
They were like,
I was like,
"We gave
"Thank
everything. We gave everything.
you."
Now go ahead without
They
us."
did. They did. And so, like, right at the end of the trip, the flip flops broke, and that's the story of this solo trip of mine.
Nice, Cyrus. That's cool. It was very
Sorry
fun.
for dragging a little bit longer.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Um, okay. I can ask you a question like, how do you think that that adventure, that thing that you lived changed you? If it did.
It did. I think realize, it made me discover like a part of me that was fun to spend time with. Sometimes I think of myself as just myself, one entity
Mm-hmm.
and one person. But during that trip, I found myself often having to entertain me because I didn't have anything to do. I was talking to no one
Mm-hmm.
except the situations that I told you about, of course. But most of the time, it was just me walking. And so I don't know. I started to think of myself as a friend of mine, as someone to talk with in my mind and tell me stories or have thoughts of things around me or things that I could do. And it was, I don't know, it was just fun to feel myself being my traveling companion and enjoying that. I think that was something that something that this whole trip gave me, was like realizing that going by yourself can be can make you discover how you might like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and how it could be nice to spend time with yourself. And I purposely say uh, not spending time alone, because to me it wasn't quite spending time alone. It was spending time with myself, discovering myself and discovering the type of person that I was.
That's kind of the nuance between alone and lonely, right?
I think so, yeah.
Because you were technically physically alone, but you didn't feel lonely because you were with yourself, and you could entertain yourself. I think it's nice. And I think it's the kind of experience that that really makes you appreciate how much we need that sometimes. Because
Yeah.
we are social animals. We spend a lot of time with a lot of people, and sometimes it's also quite hard to just how do you say it? Not switch off, but unplug your connections for a day, for a few days, and when you do it, it just like it can feel very good.
True, and I think that maybe oftentimes people associate the alone with lonely. And maybe that idea can scare them to not want it to the point that they want to try to avoid being in that situation. But I think there is nothing, I think that it's important to recognize the difference between the two words and recognize that, everyone should not be scared of being alone, but maybe see that as under a different light, as a more of a way to, spend time with yourself.
Yeah, the opposite is also true. Like you could be with a lot of people and then feel lonely and then feel like, oh, I shouldn't feel like this because I'm with people, right? But it's okay, and well, you have to think about it. And if you do always do this association between like your physical presence and the presence of other people with you, with what you're feeling, that's not necessarily good, because then you feel guilty, for example, of feeling lonely when you're with people, or you feel like you don't want to be alone because you associate that with being lonely. So yeah, interesting points.
That's a good point that you bring up. Yes. It also makes me think like, yes, oftentimes the situations that we find ourselves kind of gives us clues about how we should feel. Like if you are with friends, you should feel good. If you are alone, you shouldn't feel that good. I don't know. Just this is like silly examples, but like it's true that there are many ways in which the situations that you find yourself in should dictate or like give you an idea of how you should feel. But the two things can totally be like separated. You can be in a situation in which you're supposed to feel like happy, you're supposed to feel like you're doing okay, but inside you're feeling totally different. And I think that it's important to realize that the two things don't always need to correspond. You can be in a crowd and feel lonely. You can be by yourself and feel in company.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for sharing the story, Cyrus.
Well, of course. Thank you so much, Nemo, for allowing me to share it to you and to
the one viewer who's watching right now.
To one viewer. Thank you.
Whoever you were.
What was I cannot see. I cannot. Oh, is he unknown?
I don't know who that is. Unknown also said bye before. No.
Thank you, viewer.
Yeah, and yeah, I think maybe next week or whenever we have time, we can do another one of these, and I think I can talk about a little experience of mine, which is also kind of similar to yours. I'm just thinking about it now because you talked about this one. Like I can try to tease a little bit without saying too much, but it's kind of like you, but I was not walking, so I was staying in a place where I was not supposed to be for an entire week or a week and a half or so. You probably you know it. It's just that you don't.
At this moment, I cannot recall it, but
that's fine.
That's intriguing.
And yeah,
I will want to hear that.
So to tease a little bit, I was in a place that it was I was not supposed to stay there, and part of it was kind of a private garden. I was not supposed to stay in a private garden for days.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll tell you more next time. It's gonna be
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be the story is gonna be shorter because there are less things happening. But I also felt things that I felt at that time for the first time, and I think those are those moments that that really define you. Anyway, okay, perfect. Thank you again
Awesome. I
for.
can't wait to hear that.
We'll do that. We'll do that together. So yeah,
Sounds
thank
good.
you for coming.
Of course.
You've been a wonderful guest, and
Thank you. You've been a wonderful host.
that's fine. Okay, see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much again. Bye.
Bye, people.